Imagine being a 20-year-old California girl arriving in Norway for a short-term job as a farmhand and discovering that you'll be caring for over 100 sheep on a remote farm all by yourself. In a new memoir, Accidental Shepherd, it's a true tale of how a young woman in the 70s turned what she thought was a summer job into a year-long test of resilience, culture shock, and unexpected transformation. Welcome, Liese Greensfelder. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Kelly. It's wonderful to be here.
So let's start at the beginning. What took you to Norway, specifically to this sheep farm?
Well, I grew up in Mill Valley, California, and graduated from high school there in 1969. And by then I was kind of a flaming liberal from a liberal family, and I wanted to do something good in the world. So I decided I wanted to be a farm advisor in developing countries and help small farmers.
Gosh.
And to that end, I took 2 years after I graduated, I'd been an exchange student for a year in Denmark, and then I went to college and I dropped out. And then I really wanted to learn about farming from the ground up. So I eventually found a Norwegian organization that found summer jobs for foreigners between the ages of 18 to 30 to live and work as a member of a Norwegian farm family, supposedly.
And you ended up having to do this all by yourself with no farming experience, right? What was that like?
Well, to backtrack, the reason it happened is as soon as I arrived in Norway, this was before there was any kind of communication possibilities,
Cell
not even a phone,
email,
nothing.
Yeah.
I learned that the farmer had just had a stroke and he was hospitalized. He was a single man, 60 years old, who lived up in the mountains on kind of a remote farm. And to make a long story short, 2 days later, I went up there to caretake supposedly for a month. But it turned out to be much longer than that. He didn't come home, and I was immediately put in charge of having to learn how to milk a cow, which a neighbor helped me with. A neighbor came over every morning and evening for 2 weeks, and I had to take care of 115 ewes and lambs, and a heifer, a milk cow, a draft horse, a ram.
Everything must have been so different to weather, lifestyle, community. Tell me about that.
Everything was very different. Fortunately, I spoke fluent Danish from my year in Denmark as an exchange student, so people could understand me, but they spoke a remote dialect. It took me months to really be able to understand them.
Do you have a most memorable moment too, would you say, from being there? I mean, I feel like the first day would be the most memorable for me. Like, what am I doing?
Well, almost every day that entire year was memorable. But the one thing that I think was maybe most memorable was this heifer kept breaking through fences, and I had to keep going, finding her, bringing her back, dragging her back to her pasture, and there's the pasture right there.
Oh my, it's stunning.
And then repair the fence. And so I wrapped a chain around my arm one time when I was really mad at her and tried dragging her, but instead she ended up dragging me.
Did you have a bad injury from that?
I thought I was going to die because I could not disentangle myself from that chain. And so, and then she veered to the right into this copse of this forest, really dense trees. And I just, my life literally flashed before my eyes, and somehow, I don't even know how, I disentangled and I was thrown to the ground and just lay there crying hysterically.
Oh my gosh.
That was memorable.
What did you discover too then about yourself in this first year? Resilience, I imagine.
I did the work that was there. I fell in love with the place. I fell in love with the neighbors. They came to help me. They wanted this farm to survive. I was told over and over if I were not there, the animals would be slaughtered. I came to love the animals. I mean, my sheep, they became my sheep. The horse, and the beautiful horse, and the beautiful dog, they were my best friends. And to think about resiliency, I just did it because I wanted to do it and I had to do it.
Right. And you've proven that you can do hard things, clearly. Do you think we sometimes forget that or fail to learn that in life, would you say?
I think we can only learn resiliency if we're challenged. And I think we can only learn it through being challenged. And I don't know that people get this many challenges. So I think everybody should go out and look for a challenge and learn resiliency.
I like it. And where can people get this book too? It's so interesting, and I just love your memoir.
It's widely available in stock at a lot of bookstores, especially here in Seattle. Elliott Bay Book Company, for example, also Amazon, bookshop.org. Can just order it any place. It's out there on the shelves, a lot of places.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kelly. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, and Liese will be at Elliott Bay Book Company in Seattle tonight, Wednesday, July 2nd at 7 o'clock. So check that out.